Hello my Whoop friends. After this short intro, you already know almost everything about the latest NewBeeDrone Hummingbird Racespec V2 65mm bind and fly race whoop. It is definitely fun to fly, that much is clear. Version 1 of this whoop was already good for many pilots, as you can see in my first in-depth review of the Hummingbird Racespec V3.1, especially at the price back then. NewBeeDrone called version 1 V3.1. In this video, however, for the sake of simplicity and to avoid confusion, I will only refer to version 1 and version 2 or V1 and V2. In my opinion, the new NewBeeDrone Hummingbird Racespec V2 is even better than the first version of this tiny whoop. This video is intended as a supplement to my review video of version 1 of this NewBeeDrone Racespec tiny whoop. Please watch both videos to get a complete picture of this bind and fly race whoop. I link all the videos I mentioned in this video in the video description. The biggest differences, in my opinion, between version 1 and the new version 2 are the following.
The Hummingbird RaceSpec V2 features 18A dual N-channel ESCs, which in my opinion offer higher durability in hard racing use and during hard crashes. At the same time, they also lead to slightly better efficiency, and therefore a bit more power and flight time. The hover flight time of the NewBeeDrone Hummingbird RaceSpec V2, in combination with modern main connectors such as NX69 or BT 2.0, as well as AWG20 main wires, and the most modern LiPos such as the NX69 Nitro Nectar Gold 300 mAh from NewBeeDrone, or the Lava 2 LiPos from BetaFPV, is about 4 minutes and 30 seconds from 4.35 volts down to 3.3 volts at 22 degrees Celsius. Which is roughly 30 seconds longer than with version 1 of this tiny whoop. That alone will make many pilots happy. I will show you a static thrust test of this Hummingbird Racespec V2 whoop, as well as of my modified Stage 5 Hummingbird V4 whoop, and more, later in this video. The Hummingbird Racespec V2 is equipped with AWG20 main wiring in the correct length. This is extremely pleasing for me. I have been trying for a long time to explain to people that the flight feel with AWG20 is so much better for most pilots. Some time ago, I also made a proof video where everyone can really see what I mean, and that there is a difference compared to AWG22 that is even visible. You can find the link to that video in the video description. In addition to the AWG20 main wire, version 2 is delivered with the new NX69 connector from NewBeeDrone. This will make some pilots happy and others not. I will come back to the NX69 connector later in the video. The Hummingbird Racespec V2 is equipped with a UART-based 2.4 GHz ELRS receiver and with a ceramic 2.4 GHz ELRS antenna, which is more robust than the wire antenna of version 1, which I had to laboriously secure to the board so that it wouldn't fall off after several dozen crashes. This is no longer an issue with version 2 of this tiny whoop, thanks to the ceramic antenna. The Hummingbird Racespec V2 is equipped with the new NewBeeDrone BI-V2 camera. The new BI-V2 camera is slightly smaller and significantly lighter than the previous camera and offers a bit more contrast. I personally definitely like the new camera better. It is now similar to the tiny whoop pinch camera, but with what feels like slightly less fisheye effect from the lens than the pinch cam, which some pilots will like and others will not. The Hummingbird Racespec V2 no longer has a heavy USB connector on the flight controller. To keep the weight of the Hummingbird Racespec V2 low, NewBeeDrone omitted the usual USB connector on the drone. The Racespec V2 now features 4 gold-plated holes that serve as the connection for the USB adapter supplied by NewBeeDrone. As a result, the weight of the NewBeeDrone Hummingbird Racespec V2 has remained roughly the same despite the heavier ESCs, which is very pleasing. The Hummingbird Racespec V2 is therefore still the lightest 65mm bind and fly race tiny whoop on the market. The Hummingbird Racespec V2 is now equipped with a 25 to 400 milliwatt video transmitter, which will likely make some pilots happy. For me personally, this change is not very important, as I always fly with 25 milliwatts. For me and other race pilots, it is more important that the 25 milliwatts are adhered to precisely on every channel. According to NewBeeDrone, this should still be the case despite the increase in possible output power. However, I have not tested this. All these innovations of the Hummingbird RaceSpec V2 Whoop are, from my point of view, extremely pleasing and have made the already good Hummingbird RaceSpec V1 Whoop even better for many pilots. In my opinion, the NewBeeDrone Hummingbird RaceSpec V2 Whoop is the most powerful pure racing BNF whoop on the market. Of course, that does not mean that it has no disadvantages. I will list all the pros and cons of this tiny whoop in the video description. And if there is not enough space there, then in my first pinned comment so that it stays at the top. With this list of advantages and disadvantages, you can inform yourself and decide for yourself. My goal is to give you a neutral and comprehensive basis for your decision. Personally, I am very pleased with the NewBeeDrone Hummingbird RaceSpec V2. For me, it has enough new features to excite me. That does not mean that I do not see the disadvantages, such as motors with bushings instead of ball bearings, or motor wires without PCBs at the motors. Nor does it mean that I do not understand why someone might not want to fly with the NX69 connector. I understand all of that, but I also understand NewBeeDrone's decisions. With the Hummingbird RaceSpec V2, NewBeeDrone wanted to offer the most uncompromising, lightest bind and fly race whoop for experienced pilots. And I think that overall, this has definitely been achieved. And if you do all the modifications that I show you later in this video, you will enjoy this race tiny whoop for a long time. For example, if you generously secure the motor wires with a rubbery adhesive, the motor wires will last almost as long as it takes for the bushing bearings of the motors to reach the end of their service life. I only had to resolder a motor wire once after many, many flights. I find that acceptable. When the motors reach the end of their life, you can replace them with motors of your choice. Of course, without any guarantee of compatibility with the flight controller or good ESC longevity from NewBeeDrone. Or if you don't like the NX69 motor connector, you can simply desolder it and replace it with a BT 2.0. That should not be a problem for you as an experienced pilot. As already mentioned, the NewBeeDrone Hummingbird RaceSpec V2 was developed for experienced pilots, which NewBeeDrone also communicates honestly and transparently on their homepage. And I have to say honestly, my friends, I really appreciate that. NewBeeDrone even added something extra on their homepage based on my feedback, and within just a few days. I really appreciate that, and therefore I see NewBeeDrone in a different light nowadays. And I hope you can also be a bit more tolerant, my whoop friends, and appreciate the many good things about this truly unique race tiny whoop. Personally, it doesn't matter to me whether you decide for or against the Hummingbird RaceSpec V2 Whoop. It is your decision. Only you know your needs and wishes. In this video, I'm just giving you some data and my personal assessment. If you decide on the Hummingbird RaceSpec V2 Whoop because of my video, I would appreciate it if you use the affiliate link in the video description for your order to support this YouTube channel. Thank you very much in advance. The rest of the video is divided into chapters. Please use the chapters to navigate through the video. If you don't know how to use chapters efficiently on YouTube, then watch my video on that topic first. This video is largely self-explanatory. I won't talk much in the video. Additional information can be found in the video description. Please check out my many other tutorials on this YouTube channel if you want to learn more about modifying a tiny whoop or learning to fly and racing. Happy flying, my whoop friends. Enjoy the rest of this video.
Telemetry recovered.
Advantages: decent PID tune for a bind and fly whoop. Enough power for all flight maneuvers and a nice responsive flight feel thanks to high kV motors. Very low weight. Still the lightest bind and fly race whoop on the market in the year 2026. Good flight time thanks to low weight AWG-20 main cable, NX69 plug, and BlueJay ESC firmware. Very durable, almost indestructible whoop frame. Indestructible 3D printed TPU canopy with good design to protect the FC from camera impacts. NX69 main plug with low electrical resistance. AWG-20 main cable for low electrical resistance. 2.4 GHz ceramic antenna. 5.8 GHz plug-in antenna for an easy, convenient replacement. Plug-in camera for an easy, convenient replacement. Adjustable camera angle from about 40 degrees up to about 60 degrees. Very lightweight BI-V2 camera with nice picture quality with a good contrast for racing. Components on the camera board fixed with epoxy. VTX power 25 mW to 400 mW according to NewBeeDrone. VTX power smart control which prevents overheating. Flight controller equipped with reverse polarity protection. Very good video transmission with 25 mW, above average in my opinion. Large solder pads on the flight controller available if you want to solder the motor wires. Nice large semicircular open solder pads for the main cable in the right place. The motor screws are short and therefore lightweight. The motor screws are slightly recessed into the frame, which is good for sensitive indoor surfaces. No more heavy USB connector on the flight controller. A few spare parts are included. A small manual is included. And last but not least, there are many tuning videos and tutorials available from me on this ButterflyFPV YouTube channel for whoops like this one. Check out the playlists on this YouTube channel. I know this is all a bit much right now. You can find all the information I list in this video also in written form in the video description and/or in my first pinned comment. Disadvantages. NX69 main plug is proprietary and is not compatible with BT 2.0 plug. Motors with bushings, not ball bearings. No strain relief from motor PCB to motor wires. No strain relief from camera board to camera cable. Special length motor screws are necessary for the NBD LiteAF frame. M1.4mm by 2.5mm. LiPo holder tends to damage the LiPo in very hard crashes. Only custom firmware from NewBeeDrone can be flashed onto the board as far as I know. No black box on the flight controller if I'm correct. OSD screen disappears sometimes for a moment after a very hard crash. The pins on the USB adapter are a little bit fragile. You have to be careful. Neutral points. Camera lens protection is okay for indoors, but could be better. Camera plugs small and lightweight, but not compatible with some other manufacturers. Motors with delta termination. The stock ASI propellers are very lightweight, but have a lot of pitch. Canopy design is good to protect the FC from camera impacts, but some people don't like the camera position. 5.8 GHz antenna somewhat fragile on the transition from shielding to active part of the antenna. UART-based receiver. Lightweight 5.8 GHz monopole antenna. If you still can't decide whether you want to buy the NewBeeDrone Hummingbird V4 or the NewBeeDrone RaceSpec V2, then I want to tell you that you can modify the Hummingbird V4 very easily. Mount a different frame and a different canopy. Remove the motor plugs and solder on the motor wires using my tutorial video. And you will already have an approximately 17 to 17.5 gram lightweight race whoop that still has cool LEDs. So, if you can solder or are willing to learn, it doesn't play such a big role whether you buy the Hummingbird V4 or the RaceSpec V2. The advantages of the Hummingbird V4, as already mentioned, are the LEDs and the longer durability of the motor wires, as well as easier repairs of the motor wires thanks to the PCBs on the motors. And you can convert the Hummingbird V4 into a lightweight 75mm whoop if desired. The motor wires are long enough for that. I will make a video about this at some point, but if you can't solder or don't want to, then the RaceSpec V2 is of course also a good choice that will not disappoint you, especially if you do the modifications that I describe in my RaceSpec Whoop video. No matter how you decide, I wish you lots of success and fun learning to fly Whoop. There are different opinions about the new NX69 main plug. Personally, I am satisfied with it. It works quite well so far. Of course, a second 1S plug that is not open source is not necessarily what the world needed. but I think it is a good plug in terms of electrical resistance. Pulling the plug apart is sometimes unfortunately very tight. I made a separate video on this topic. You can find the link to the playlist containing that video in the video description of this video.
This video is intended as a supplement to my review video of version 1 of this NewBeeDrone RaceSpec Tiny Whoop. Please watch both videos to get a complete picture of this bind and fly race whoop. I link all the videos I mentioned in this video in the video description. Some additional information can be found in the video description. Please watch my many other tutorials on this YouTube channel if you want to know more about how to modify a tiny whoop or how to learn FPV flying and racing.